Hello everyone, there was a time in my life when everything looked perfect. I had dreams drawn in bright colors, a future planned down to the smallest detail, and a heart full of excitement for the life I believed I was about to live. And then in one single moment, everything changed. I still remember the sound of that moment. A crash, a scream, a silence that seemed endless. When I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by lights and faces, but nothing felt real. I tried to move, and nothing happened. I tried to stand, and the world stood still. That was the day my old life ended. The doctors came and said words that shattered every part of me. You will never walk again. I cannot describe that feeling when the life you had built in your imagination burns down in front of your eyes, and you can do nothing but watch the smoke. I felt like I was trapped in someone else's body, someone else's story. I kept asking, why me? Over and over again. For months, I fought with that question. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? I blamed fate, I blamed life, I even blamed myself. But then, one night, lying in silence, I realized something that changed everything. I had been so focused on what I lost that I forgot to notice what I still had. I still had my heart. I still had my mind. I still had my breath. And as long as I had those, I had a choice to give up or to rise again. So I chose to rise. Not because I wasn't afraid, but because I was tired of being afraid. When you lose everything you thought defined you, you're left with one question. Who am I now? That question became my rebirth. I started painting. At first, my hands shook, but the colors spoke louder than my pain. Every brushstroke was a conversation with my soul. I poured my fear into red, my sadness into blue, my hope into yellow. Slowly, the colors began to heal what medicine couldn't. I realized then that pain doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to awaken you. Sometimes the universe has to break you to rebuild you into who you were meant to be. My tragedy became my turning point. I learned that adversity is not the enemy, it's the greatest teacher you'll ever meet. It strips away everything false until only truth remains. It teaches you to see beauty in places you once ignored, in a sunrise, in a kind word, in the simple act of breathing. People started calling me strong. But strength doesn't mean you never break. Strength means you break again and again, but you still choose to heal. It's not about standing tall, it's about standing true. In those long nights of pain, I realized something powerful. We don't need a perfect life to be grateful. We need gratefulness to make life perfect. Gratitude became my light. It taught me to celebrate the little things. The laughter of my family, the smell of paint, the sound of rain against the window. I stopped waiting for life to be easy. And I started loving it as it was raw, unpredictable, and real. Many people think that adversity ends your story, but I'm here to tell you sometimes it's where your story truly begins. When everything you depended on disappears, you meet yourself for the first time. You discover the strength you never knew you had. You find the courage to live for something greater than comfort. And when you start living from that place, that quiet strength that comes from surviving, you become unstoppable. There were moments I wanted to hide. Moments when the weight of pity in people's eyes hurt more than my body ever could. But then I realized, people only see your scars when you let them define you. I decided my scars would not be a symbol of pain, but of power. They are not reminders of what I lost, they are reminders of what I survived. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. We filter our faces, polish our lives, hide our tears. But perfection is an illusion. True beauty lives in authenticity, in owning your story, in loving yourself as you are. When I stopped pretending to be okay and started being honest about my pain, something beautiful happened. I connected. Because the truth is, people don't connect with perfection. They connect with vulnerability. They connect with truth. That's when I understood the real meaning of success. It's not about walking on red carpets or collecting trophies. Success is when your story gives someone else the courage to live theirs. I turned my wheelchair into my wings. Because freedom is not about where your legs can take you. It's about where your heart can go. Adversity taught me that you can't control what happens to you, but you can always control what happens within you. You can let pain break you, or you can let it make you unbreakable. Every challenge in your life carries a hidden blessing. Every storm carries a seed of growth. Every heartbreak carries a lesson in love. But you will only see it if you refuse to give up. So, if you are listening to this today and your world feels heavy, if life has knocked you down, I want you to know it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel lost, but don't stay there. Your pain is not the end of your story, it's the chapter that will make your ending unforgettable. There will come a day when you look back and say, that pain made me who I am. That fall taught me how to fly. Don't wait for someone to save you. Save yourself. Don't wait for permission to dream again. Give yourself permission. Don't let fear silence your story. Let it roar. Every one of us has a choice to curse the darkness or to become the light. I chose the light, and I hope you will too. Because you, yes, you have the power to turn your adversity into your greatest opportunity. Your scars are not symbols of shame, they are the brushstrokes of your becoming. Your tears are not signs of weakness, they are proof that you cared, that you loved, that you lived. So rise again. Even if you have to crawl, rise with faith, rise with gratitude. Rise knowing that life is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be meaningful. You are not your pain. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are the masterpiece that was shaped by every storm you survived. And remember, sometimes when life breaks you, it's only preparing you for the light you were born to give. When life breaks you, don't break yourself. There comes a moment in life when everything you know, everything you've built, everything you dreamed of shatters in a single instant. You don't see it coming. 1 second, you're living the life you imagined, and the next, you're staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, what just happened to me? I remember that silence, that heavy silence after the storm. The kind that doesn't make a sound but screams louder than anything you've ever heard. You're not sure if you're awake or dreaming, if you're alive or just surviving. People look at you and tell you to stay strong. But what they don't understand is strength doesn't come easy when your world has collapsed. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about admitting that it isn't. It's about facing the truth that life sometimes is brutally unpredictable. In that moment of helplessness, when you realize that control was always an illusion, you begin to meet your real self. When everything you depended on, your body, your plans, your future is taken away, you are left with one question. Will I let this break me, or will I rebuild myself from these pieces? That is the moment of truth. That is where real strength is born, not from muscles or medals, but from the heart that refuses to give up. Life will test you. It will knock you down, shake your confidence, and strip you of everything you thought you couldn't live without. But it's in that very place where you have nothing left to lose that you discover what truly matters. You realize that your worth isn't tied to what you've lost, but to what still lives within you. Your courage, your kindness, your faith, these are things no accident, no failure, no heartbreak can ever take away. When life breaks you, don't break yourself. Don't let your circumstances convince you that you are powerless. Because the truth is, you may not control what happens to you, but you can always control what happens within you. You can choose to see pain as punishment or as preparation. You can choose to stay buried in your fears or rise with your faith. You can choose to surrender, or you can choose to stand tall, even if standing tall means sitting in a wheelchair, standing in your truth, or simply standing in your spirit. You see, life doesn't get easier, you get stronger. You don't become brave by avoiding storms, you become brave by walking through them and realizing you can survive. Every time you rise after falling, you prove to yourself that you are more than your pain. You prove that strength is not in avoiding the fall, it's in the decision to rise again and again. So if life has ever broken you, if you've lost something or someone, If you faced rejection, illness, betrayal, or failure, know this. You are still whole. You are still worthy. You are still becoming. Don't break yourself just because life tried to. You are not the storm. You are the survivor standing in its aftermath stronger, wiser, and more alive than before. Because when life breaks you, it's not the end. It's the beginning of who you're meant to become. Pain is not the enemy, it's the teacher. For a long time, I believed pain was my enemy. I saw it as a thief that had stolen my joy, my freedom, my dreams. I used to ask the same question over and over again. Why me? Why did I have to lose everything I loved? Why did my plans fall apart when I had done nothing wrong? But the truth is, pain was never there to destroy me. It was there to awaken me. You see, pain has a strange way of forcing you to stop, to pause the noise of the world, to sit in silence, and to truly listen. It brings you face to face with who you are when there's nothing left to hide behind. And that's when you start discovering what you were always meant to know, that life is not about what happens to you, but how you grow through it. Pain is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the fire that burns away your illusions and leaves only truth. When I was surrounded by darkness, I started noticing things I had ignored when life was easy. I began to value kindness, not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet kind that heals. I learned that empathy is born from pain, that only those who have suffered can truly understand the suffering of others. Pain softened me. It humbled me. It made me grateful. I realized that the things I used to chase, perfection, validation, control, none of them mattered anymore. What mattered was being real. Pain strips away your masks and shows you your soul, raw, imperfect, but beautifully alive. And I learned that pain doesn't leave when you fight it. It leaves when you embrace it. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is it trying to teach me? That's the moment you begin to heal. Pain teaches you patience. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you that even when you feel empty, your heart still beats. And that is proof of purpose. Pain teaches you that sometimes losing everything is the only way to find yourself. We live in a world that glorifies happiness and hides suffering. But without pain, you would never grow. Without pain, there would be no depth, no compassion, no meaning. The people who shine the brightest are often the ones who've walked through the darkest nights. So instead of running from pain, learn to sit with it. Let it speak. Let it show you the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, because that's where your greatest transformation begins. The pain you're feeling today is shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow. The heartbreak that's crushing you today will one day make you the kind of person who can heal others. Pain is not the end, it's the beginning of wisdom. And one day, you look back and realize that what once felt like the end of your story was actually the beginning of your becoming. So, when life hurts, don't curse it, listen to it. Because pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. And if you allow it, it will teach you how to turn your wounds into wisdom, your scars into stories, and your brokenness into beauty. Healing begins when you choose yourself. There comes a point in your journey when you realize no one is coming to save you. No miracle, no person, no magic moment will suddenly erase the pain. And that realization hurts, it really does, but it's also the moment your healing truly begins. Because healing is not about waiting for someone to fix what life broke. Healing is when you look in the mirror with all your scars and flaws and say, I am still worthy of love. I am still enough. I remember the first time I looked at myself and didn't recognize the person staring back. The reflection was different. The body was weaker. The dreams seemed smaller. The eyes looked tired. But as I looked deeper, I saw something else, something powerful. I saw a survivor. I saw someone who had walked through fire and was still standing. And I realized, maybe healing isn't about becoming who I used to be. Maybe it's about embracing who I am now. Healing begins when you choose yourself, when you decide that your peace is more important than your pain, that your growth is more important than your grief. You stop asking, when will I be who I was? And you start saying, who can I become now? For me, healing came through creation. When I picked up a paintbrush, my hands were trembling. But every stroke, every color, every canvas became a conversation between me and my soul. I poured my sadness into blue, my courage into yellow, my hope into red, and somewhere between those colors, I found myself again. Art didn't heal my body, but it healed my spirit. And that's what healing really is. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of peace. You see, healing isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's not a straight road. It's messy, unpredictable, and slow. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days you'll feel broken again. But every tear, every setback, every small victory is part of the process. When you choose yourself, you stop apologizing for your emotions. You stop minimizing your story. You start speaking kindly to yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you're trying, and that's enough. Healing doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means it no longer controls you. It means you can look at your scars and feel gratitude instead of grief. You can remember what broke you and still smile, because you know you made it through. So, if you're still waiting for someone to tell you that it's time to heal, let this be that sign. Stop waiting for closure from others. Stop waiting for the world to change. Start choosing yourself over fear, over doubt, over regret. Every day you wake up and choose to live again, you are healing. Every time you speak gently to yourself, you are healing. Every time you forgive yourself for not being perfect, you are healing. You don't need to be who you were before life broke you. You are allowed to become someone new, someone wiser, softer, stronger, and more compassionate. Healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means you've stopped letting it define you. It means you've learned to turn your pain into purpose, your loss into lessons, your silence into art. So, choose yourself today. Even if your hands are trembling, even if your voice shakes, even if your heart is still healing, choose yourself. Because healing doesn't begin when life gets easier. Healing begins when you finally believe that you are enough, just as you are. Redefine strength and beauty. For the longest time, I thought strength meant never crying. I thought beauty meant being flawless, having a perfect body, a perfect smile, a perfect life. That's what the world teaches us, doesn't it? To hide our pain, to cover our scars, to pretend we're okay when we're falling apart inside. But when life stripped away my mask, I realized something I'll never forget. Real strength has nothing to do with how you look. It's about how deeply you feel. It's about the courage to be seen, not as the world expects you to be, but as you truly are. Strength isn't in your muscles, it's in your heart. It's in the tears you wipe away quietly at 2 a.m. In the mornings you rise even when you don't feel like getting out of bed. Strength is standing in front of your reflection, seeing your scars, and saying, I am still beautiful. You see, the world glorifies perfection, but perfection is an illusion. It's the cracks that let the light in. It's the broken pieces that make us human. True beauty begins when comparison ends. When you stop chasing the impossible image of what the world calls beautiful and start embracing the masterpiece that you already are. Your scars are not ugly. They are proof that you healed. Your pain doesn't make you less, it makes you real. When I began to see my reflection with gratitude instead of judgment, everything changed. I stopped seeing what I had lost and started seeing what I had gained: wisdom, compassion, resilience. That's beauty. That's strength. I realized that beauty is not about symmetry or standards. It's about authenticity, being comfortable in your own skin, even when it's marked by life. It's about wearing your scars with pride, because they tell a story of survival. When you choose to show up raw, honest, unfiltered, that's when your light touches others. People don't connect with perfection, they connect with truth. Your vulnerability gives others permission to be real too. So let's redefine what it means to be strong. It's not about hiding your emotions, it's about expressing them without shame. It's not about always winning, it's about learning from every loss. It's not about standing tall all the time. Sometimes it's about having the humility to fall and still rise again. And let's redefine what beauty means. Beauty is kindness in your words. Beauty is grace in your silence. Beauty is hope in your eyes, even after they've cried 1,000 tears. Beauty is the strength to love yourself when the world gives you 100 reasons not to. So, the next time you look in the mirror, don't search for perfection, look for courage. Don't count your flaws, count your blessings. And don't hide your story, wear it proudly, because your story makes you beautiful. You are not too broken, you are not too imperfect, you are not too late to shine. You are strong, you are whole, you are enough just as you are. Gratitude turns wounds into wings. There was a time when all I could see were the things I had lost, the things I could no longer do, the dreams that were no longer possible. And the more I focused on what was missing, the heavier my heart became. But one day, in the quiet of my room, I realized something simple, yet life-changing. Pain doesn't leave your life when you stop hurting. It leaves when you start being grateful. Gratitude doesn't mean you're okay with what happened. It doesn't mean your pain disappears. It simply means that you choose to see the light even when it's surrounded by darkness. It means that you look at your scars and say, "Thank you because you taught me something I never would have learned otherwise." When I started practicing gratitude, I didn't thank life for the big things, I thanked it for the small ones, for the sound of laughter echoing through my home, for the scent of rain on the earth, for the friends who stayed when everything else fell apart, for the sunrise that still showed up, even when I didn't feel like it. And slowly, I realized gratitude doesn't change your situation. It changes the way you see your situation. It shifts your focus from what you've lost to what you still have. When you start counting your blessings, you realize you have more than you thought. When you start thanking life, life starts giving you more to be thankful for. Gratitude turned my wounds into wings. It didn't take away the pain, but it gave it purpose. It reminded me that even in loss, there is love. Even in chaos, there is beauty. Even in endings, there are beginnings. So often, we wait for something big to happen before we feel thankful. We think, I'll be grateful when I succeed, when I'm healthy, when I'm loved. But gratitude isn't a result of happiness, it's the reason for it. The happiest people are not those who have everything. They are those who see beauty in everything. Gratitude taught me to stop chasing what's perfect and start loving what's present. It taught me that the little things, the quiet mornings, the laughter of loved ones, the simple breath in my lungs are not little at all. They are everything. And here's the most beautiful part. Gratitude is contagious. When you live with a grateful heart, you inspire others to do the same. You remind people that there's still light even in their darkest nights. So, if life has hurt you, if you feel broken or lost, don't close your heart, open it wider. Say thank you not because it's easy, but because it's powerful. Thank life for the lessons. Thank pain for the growth. Thank yourself for surviving. Because gratitude is what turns pain into peace, wounds into wisdom, and endings into wings. When you start seeing every breath, every smile, every sunrise as a gift, that's when your healing becomes flight. That's when you stop merely existing and start truly living. And that's when your wounds no longer weigh you down, they lift you. They become your wings. Rise and become the light. Every person in this world faces a moment where the darkness feels endless, when life knocks the wind out of you, when you lose the meaning of tomorrow, when you start to believe the sun may never rise again. But what if I told you that in that very darkness, your light is born? I used to wait for someone to rescue me. I hoped someone would reach out, lift me up, and show me the way, but no one came. And that's when I realized something profound. I wasn't meant to be rescued. I was meant to rise. You see, sometimes the universe removes every support from your life so you can learn to stand on the strength of your own soul. It takes away the noise so you can hear your inner voice whisper, you still have light inside you. Rising doesn't always mean running toward glory. Sometimes rising means whispering thank you through your tears. It means choosing to keep your heart open even after it's been broken. It means walking forward even when every step aches. You rise not because you're fearless, but because your purpose is greater than your pain. When you rise after falling, something shifts within you. The world no longer intimidates you because you've already faced your worst and survived. The storms no longer scare you because you've learned how to dance in the rain. And one day, you'll look back and realize the darkness that once buried you actually planted you. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You didn't just heal, you became a healer. You didn't just walk through the fire, you became the flame. We all have two choices, to curse the darkness or to become the light that breaks it. You have that choice right now to complain about what you've lost or to create something beautiful from it, to stay silent in pain or to speak words that inspire, to stay small or to rise and become something greater than your circumstances. You were not created to hide your light, you were created to shine it. Even if your light flickers, even if it's small, let it glow. Because one tiny flame can set the whole world ablaze with hope. And when you rise, something amazing happens. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Your courage gives someone else the strength to try again. Your light reminds others that they are not alone in their darkness. So rise. Even if you have to crawl, rise. Even if the world tells you you're not ready, rise anyway. Even if no one believes in you, believe in yourself enough to rise. Because rising isn't about reaching the top, it's about refusing to stay at the bottom. It's about knowing that you may have scars, but you are still sacred. You may have pain, but you still have purpose. You may have fallen, but you still have faith. And if you've lost everything, remember this, you still have you. And that's enough to start again. So rise, rise and become the light. The world needs it. Someone, somewhere is waiting for your story, your strength, your spark. Be that light, the light that reminds others that even after the darkest night, the dawn always comes. My friend, if you remember nothing else from this talk, remember this, you are not the mistakes you've made. You are not the pain you've endured. You are not the person you were when life broke you. You are the miracle that decided to keep going. You are the story that refused to end in sorrow. You are the light that kept shining when everything else faded. Every scar you carry is not a sign of weakness, it's proof of survival. Every tear you've shed watered the roots of your strength. Every time you thought it was over, it was actually the beginning of something new. You were never meant to be perfect, you were meant to be real. You were never meant to live without pain, you were meant to rise through it. And maybe, just maybe, your purpose is not to have an easy life, but to inspire others with how beautifully you live a hard one. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't just exist, live. Don't just breathe, feel. Don't just survive, shine. Walk into every room knowing that your presence is light. Speak words that heal. Smile with kindness. Love without fear. Because you never know who is watching you, who is drawing courage from your quiet strength, who is finding hope through your story. If life gave you pain, transform it into purpose. If life took something from you, build something greater in return. Because the world doesn't need another perfect person, it needs you, just as you are, flawed, brave, and beautifully human. So rise every day with gratitude, live with courage. And no matter what happens, Never stop believing that your story matters, because it does. You do. And the light you carry might just be the miracle someone else is praying for.